Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Big hello to all the new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. This is going to be at least 2 videos. So what it is if you remember about 2 weeks or so ago, a guy just up and gave me a nice little 1978 Johnson 2 horsepower single cylinder. He also gave me a 1995 Evinrude 3.3 single cylinder, single carburetor. The 2 horsepower Johnson is a 1978 made in America. The 3.3 is a 95 made in Hong Kong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the basics needed to get both of them running, which looks like it will be the exact same thing. I'm going to replace the plugs. They're old and rusty in both. I'm going to take off the carburetors in both, open them up, look inside, and clean them. Do what I have to do to get spark on both of them, and then put them back together, test run them, and then I will, at the end of the second video, I will make me a list of what I think the pros and cons of each one. An American made 1978 or a 95 made Hong Kong, a 1995 Hong Kong made 3.3. Alright, so I'm going to show you this little Johnson, but before I do, I'll give you a look at the weather. It's just been foggy, rainy, crappy for 8 days now. We haven't even seen the sun here. It's just foggy, wet, yucky, no blue skies, just fog, misty, rainy, water puddles everywhere, just nasty. You know, so I've been kind of trapped inside doing the smaller engines. These ones I needed to get to because I have plans for both of them. So, but this weather, it just gives you them blues. You know what I'm saying? You understand? Just give you them blues. Out here in this lake, in my boat I sit. I was running all around and then in my outboard up and quit. Got me some outboard blues. Got me some outboard blues. Not sure what I should do. I got these outboard blues. You know I do. You know I do. I squeeze that boat. I pull that choke. I pulled that cord down, my arm almost broke. I got these outboard blues. Got these outboard blues, yeah. Wind's picking up, sunset low. Well, I guess that I should roll. I got me some outboard blues, baby. You understand? Okay, I pulled the flywheel on this little bitty cute Johnson Seahorse 2 horsepower. And I mainly did that. One, it wasn't getting spark, and I cleaned up the points, and now I got spark. But what I wanted to point out was a lot of people will take and use a flywheel puller on the bigger outboards. And on these little ones, they'll tend to take and use some kind of big screwdriver or pry tool and put upward pressure on it, and then smack it with a mallet or a hammer or whatever else of that nature, you understand. But what I wanted to show you was look at how thin and small this crank end is. And then in addition to that, you got about a 1/4 inch of hollow. And people say, well, just back the nut off so it encases that. I use a puller on these little ones. I feel more confident that I'm not going to have a problem on a bigger engine and a big, thick, solid crank in than I would on these little egg beater type motors. So just wanted to point that out. That's very small, and the tip end of it's hollow. So I wouldn't recommend doing the old pop the flywheel with a mallet deal on these little guys. So just wanted to point that out real quick. So I'm going to clean up under here. It's pretty dirty, and then I'll of course have to pull the carb off. It's filthy. So I'll be back. Alright, this is the carburetor on the little 2-horse Johnny. This is how I found it when I opened it dirty. And you can see she's dirty. But overall, inside, you know, you got some caramelized fuel residue, and gasket's all sticky with it and everything. But overall, other than the varnish in there, everything's looks pretty good, really. So I'm happy with that. Just a quick cleaning and we'll put that back together. So that's what she looked like inside when I took it off. Be right back. Okay, little note on these little bitty Johnson 2-horse. Something you want to do when you go to reassemble the carburetor and everything, before you put the bottom cowling tray, I guess you call this thing, you want to hook up your choke and put the gas tank back in. It has a couple of clips that go in there. I'll show you those. I painted mine. They were all rusty. I wire wheeled them, core sealed them, and painted them. So before you put this thing back together, or before you put the tray on, go ahead and hook up your choke, because you're not going to have enough room once this gets on there. And then put in the gas tank before you go any further. Then put the bolts and so forth in. I'll be back. Alright, and these are these little clips I'm talking about right here. I find it pretty hard to get them in there and get them snapped in once you got everything mounted. So I like to put them first, and again the choke. And that makes it a little easier later. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, there's the cute little 2-horse Johnson. Carburetor's all cleaned up now. I installed a fuel filter. I put a brand new spark plug in each of these outboards. So they're both roughly got the same cleaning and set up just like. I just put I gapped a brand new plug at 30, put it in. I took and removed the carburetor, cleaned it, and put it back on. So let's, and I rinsed out the fuel tank, which I'm going to do on both. So let me make sure you're into it. Well, just barely, huh? Just barely. But I can do something about that. Alrighty, that help a little bit. Alright, this is the little 2 Johnson. Make sure the vent's open. Put it a little past start, pull the choke. I turned off the gas. Alrighty, so that's the little Johnson 2 horsepower. It's a good running little kicker. Basic, straightforward little motor, and I'll be making a second video of this cute little Hong Kong 3.3 made in Hong Kong, also a single cylinder, single carbureted engine. You can see right off the bat, a lot more plastic, so a little more weight, but I'll have to go through this one yet and see what we come up with and see what I find as far as pros and cons. And then you'll be able to compare the two and see what you think. Both single cylinders, one made in America, one made in Hong Kong. Well, that should about do it. The only other thing is, I really hope it stops all this foggy, rainy, yucky. It's been raining octopus for 8 days now. Hey man, did he just say raining octopus? I think he did. So that's going to be a wrap up on this first video. So stand by for part 2. The Evinrude Hong Kong 3.3 single cylinder, single carb coming at ya. Thanks for watching.